Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Man Cave Studios. This is the Hobby Zone. Hobby Zone sent this out to me. This is the Arrows Marlin 64mm sport jet. Understand, it's an Avanti, okay? It is in every way, shape, and form the Avanti minus the keel underneath the fuselage, underneath the hull. Other than that, it's an Avanti. Every other way, it's a shape, it's Avanti. So it flies great. I've had, I don't know how many Marlins I've had, but I know I've had at least two. First one I bought, second one Hobby Zone sent to me a long time ago, back when I first was reviewing Hobby Zone planes, and I got rid of both of them Marlins, flew the dog messes out of them. Y'all saw my videos, and missed it and everything. Well, Hobby Zone reached out to me a few weeks ago, well, actually about a month ago, and said, hey, we gone through some changes, and we want you back. Can you please review some planes for me? I'm like, sure, what would you like me to review? And they sent me out this one. They sent me out the MiG-29. They sent me out a little FMS Ranger 1220. I had the older FMS Ranger, but they sent me the new one with the version 3 of the Reflex version 3. So that's what I'll be featuring. But anyways, this plane here. Now they sent this one out. I'll be installing an AR-631 Spectrum receiver in here. And I just remember this Marlin is probably one of the best beginner sport jets out there, period. It is really, really great. I mean, there's so many that I can think of. They're great. But this is really a good one. The the E-Flight Viper is a great one to start with, 64. Hobby King, the Viper, their Viper is a great one to start with. This is a great one to start. If you're getting into sport jets and you want your first jet, this is probably one of the first really best entry-level jets that there is as far as your first jet. It's absolutely awesome. All right, now enough of the singing the praises of the Marlin. It's a legendary plane. It's been around forever. It's got a 900mm wingspan, 35.4 inches wingspan. The overall length is 995 millimeters or 39.17 inches. Flying weight with a recommended battery, which is a 22 to 2600, is about 1,050 grams. Motor size is a 2840 with a KV 3150 KV, 40 amp ESC. It's got 8 9-gram servos. 6-channel receiver. Center of gravity is 80 to 90 from the leading edge. Now, it always says leading edge, but with a jet, it's actually the leading edge root. It's where, because jets have angled wings. It's wherever the wing touches the fuse. That's where you measure your CG from. EDF is a 64mm 11-bladed fan, and the recommended is a 22 to 2600 4S. 4S only. I tried flying on a 3S one time. It was like dragging your feet in the sand. There was no real point. I mean, it sort of flew, but not real well. And you got to remember, the power is what gets you out of trouble. Speed and power. Okay. Yeah, this is one of the best beginner jets out there. Alrighty, it's like an old friend for me. Definitely an old friend for me. Oh, the manual's folded. I hate that. I mean, it's not like a huge deal, but I don't like folded manuals because then it makes it hard for them to read them. But not that big of a deal. Not a gigantic loss. All right, first thing is a one-piece wing, so that makes that easy. And like with all the Arrows products, the FMS products, the E-Flight, and all the big manufacturers, Hobby King, they all make this foam very tight, very dense, and very strong. And you can see the cells, but you can't feel them. I mean, you can see them, but you can't feel them. You just don't feel them. It feels like metal. It really does. It feels like metal. Ball links are already attached for you, so that's good. One thing I like to do, and free wing models, they make great models. They're famous for not attaching the ball link all the way so that you can take them off and adjust them. But that's not going to have to be the problem here. So I always hear that pops in there. I always like to make sure all my ball links are all the way on there. That one wasn't all the way on there and it popped in there, but just a nice stiff wing. You got your both your ailerons and your flaps. Everything is labeled for you. Makes it very, and you could separate those if you wanted to. I'm not going to, but you could. Okay. Get rid of all my debris. Again, rudder or elevator. Check your ball links, make sure they are nice and attached. Okay. Very nice. This is a very easy. All screws together. Arg. All screws together. Rudder's already in there for you. Got this little pocket in here to always check every little nook and cranny. Check every little nook and cranny. They love to hide stuff. Okay, you're going to be using 2mm hex drive for the whole thing. One. All the screws are the same size. That is awesome. I love it when the screws are all the same size. That just make, you know, it takes all the guesswork out of it. It really does. Okay, 2mm hex drive. That's all you need. All right. Pick it up by the end. I want to show you the weak point on the Marlin, though. I love Marlins. They're just such great flying planes. Make sure to check every nook and cranny. You don't want to have anything hiding on you. Because they love to take white foam parts, wrap them in white foam wrap, and then hide them. All right. The weak point on the Marlin is the rudder. Because you look how thin that is. Okay, and you've also got a servo mount in there. So there's not much structure, but they do have a nice tight foam, and there is a carbon fiber spar that goes down. So that does protect it, but a little bit of weak right in there. So just, you know, be aware. I mean, it's not perfect. It's a man-made object. It's not going to be perfect. Very simple ductwork. Got all kinds of cooling there for your ESC. There's your fan up in there. Plenty of cheaters, plenty of ability to get air. You're going to fish all them wires from that wing through that hole right there. Okay. Everything labeled clearly for you. This one has thrust reversing, just so you're aware. It does have thrust reversing, and the rudder servo is separate. Now, I more than likely will not be using thrust reversing. Instead, I'll be using a nose wheel gyro. I'll use the extra channel for a nose wheel gyro because you're going to need throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder, okay, and flaps. So there's 5. And then my 6th channel, I could either use thrust reverse or I could use the nose wheel gyro because you have to have a separate channel. Well, yeah, you know, with this plane here, I don't know. I don't know what I want. I might just stick with a thrust reverse because most of y'all are going to want that as a feature anyways. But just be aware, if you wanted to use thrust reverse and a nose wheel gyro in the Spectrum world, you're going to have to buy an 8-channel because Spectrum doesn't make a 7-channel that has a built-in nose wheel gyro. Okay. All right. Yada, yada, yada. Enough of that complaining, right? Let's go ahead, put her there. All right. Let's go ahead and take our model. Got all of our screws. Get yourself these little magnetic trays. They just make your world so much easier. All right. Now remember, anytime you're connecting servo leads up, let's get you moved to where you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Anytime you're going to be hooking up servo leads, always hook light to light, dark to dark. So the yellow side that you see on that right there, the yellow is going to line up with the yellow here. And this one here, pull these to the side, take one side, hook it up here, light to light, dark to dark. If you just remember that rule, light to light, dark to dark, and you won't have any issue. Okay, over here this side. And because if you do it wrong, you don't hook it up right, well then guess what's going to happen? Now you want to reach in here. I know you can't see my face, but you're here to look at the plane, not me. Reach in here and grab your elevator. Okay, and that's going to pull those wires. Okay, you're going to have to kind of fish. If you push your rudder off to one side, a little bit easier, pull your elevator leads on in there. You may have to finagle one through one at a time. They should fit right in there. Yeah, there they go. There they go. Okay. Okay. And that's just going to fit in there like a piece of a puzzle, just like that. It's almost held in by friction. But real quick, as a good test, let's make sure we didn't disconnect real in there. Grab that elevator lead that we just hooked up. Hey, looky there. Okay, we know we're good. We know we're good. All right, but since you've got that rudder off to one side, go ahead and take a screw, one of these screws, your 2mm hex drive. Oh, drop it one. Always drop your screws at least once or twice. You know, if you're like me, you're going to have some screw looses anyways, and that's got nothing to do with the model. Okay. Okay, you'll feel it get bite. Support it from the other side. Okay. And you can tell while this starts compressing here. Okay, nice and tight. Go up here at the top. Stickers start to come up. The only thing I'm going to be modding to this will be the, I'll give it a clear coat just to protect the foam of my polyacrylic. I'll show you that product here in just a minute. Okay. When you start seeing the plastic structure around it kind of dent in, you know you're tight enough. Helps if you put a screw in there. It just seems to work so much better. Don't know why that is. Yep, there's the bottom out point. There's the bottom out point, and that is in there. All right, turn this puppy over. Fish all these leads through that hole there. Okay. Now, take your screws. And anytime you got multiple points like this, I like to do a crisscross pattern. I'm going to do over here first. Okay, it has a very obvious bottoming out point. And then I'm just like when you put a tire on a rim, you want to crisscross your pattern. That way you get an even connection. Okay. I'm going to go to the middle now. Okay. I'm going to go back over here. And then this one here. Oh. All right. And that wing is on there. That wing ain't coming off. Okay, while we're here, you already got your nose wheel attached, right? Okay. Well, you're going to have to put landing gear on this sucker. Now, you're going to put these in to where, see how this is angled back? Put it in and slide. Okay, so it's going to go here, just like that. It's going to fit in just like that. And you're going to slide that around, and that should pop into place. There you go. Slide here, slide it to the rear, pops into place. All right, now you're going to have one screw left over, that way in case you lose it. Okay, got everything labeled in there. There. Everything's there. All right, back you up. And folks, just like that, we got her together. What'd that take? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? No time at all. And that's all it takes. Now that's the basic unboxing assembly of the Arrows 64mm Marlin. I will be going, I'm going to fly her, and I'll go over my rates. I'm going to look at the book, and I'm going to probably set her up by the book as far as the rates and everything, so I can show you exactly how she would fly based upon on the book settings. But at the same time, you know, I may have the settings for the book, and then I'll have settings for me. I may have like rates that are by the book, and then I'll have fat guy rates. They'll probably be pretty close to each other. Somehow I'm thinking 100% throws over 30% expo. I just have that feeling on everything. All right, folks, y'all have a good one. We'll go over CG rates and everything after the maiden, and I specifically want to do this after the maiden. I don't want to tell you any of my rates or anything until after I've flown her, because in this particular, with this Marlin being this is going to be like your first jet, I'm wanting you to see, well, it flew great. Boy, I'm calling my shots, aren't I? It flew great, and there's the rates he used. So that's why I'm going to do it this way. And this, I don't always do that. Some planes I set them up ahead of time, but this one, we're going to fly it, and then I'm going to prove those rates to you. All right, well, y'all have a good hobby zone. Thank you for the Marlin. I will have shouldn't have any issue flying. I haven't flown a Marlin in quite a while, but I know that they're great flyers. Runs on a 2200 up to a 2600 4S. And just real great, stable flying planes. All right, God bless y'all, folks. Don't forget, faith, family, and friends. God is good. Merry Christmas. Hug your family, fly your planes, and hug your friends. And, you know, and sometimes hug a coworker or somebody. Just watch your sexual harassment policies, you know. You know how that goes, right? Okay, we're off in Cloud 9 here somewhere. Y'all have a good one. See y'all later. Bye.